Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I'm Jason Schilling, President of the Alberta Teachers Association, and I'm joining you from Treaty 8 territory today. As a representative of the teaching community, I know my colleagues deeply value their partnerships with parents and recognize that working together is key to the success and well-being of students. And I want to state clearly that the primary concern of teachers always has been and always will be the safety and wellness of all our students. We want all students to know, especially those students who identify or have family members that identify as gender or relationship diverse, that teachers support you and care for you. Yesterday, the government introduced Bill 27, legislation that will undermine the trust and safety of all students and creates a distraction from the core issue of underfunding of public education. Teachers are legally required to provide a welcoming, caring, and inclusive environment that fosters diversity and belonging for all students. This is not a professional obligation. This is not only just a professional obligation, but a moral one. Alberta teachers are united in their commitment to provide safe spaces for all students, especially our most vulnerable ones. Bill 27, which will force disclosure of students' identities by school staff, directly contradicts this mandate and will erode the trust that allows students to feel safe and supported at school. The Alberta Teachers Association has clear policies voted on by teachers that explicitly oppose any legislation or policies that could expose students to harm, particularly regarding gender and relationship diversity. We stand firmly against measures that require teachers to disclose sensitive information about students' identities. There are many situations where students may not feel ready to share their aspects of their identity with their families. Forcing disclosure via a counselor or school board before a student is comfortable will cause unnecessary harm and distress. We know that research indicates that 2S LGBTQIA+ young people are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide. Any legislation that singles out these youth is not only dangerous, but also deeply irresponsible. We will continue working closely with parents while respecting the individual needs and rights of each student. Properly staffing schools with dedicated school counselors would allow parents, teachers, and students to navigate sensitive issues like gender identity together, fostering a more supportive environment. We also want to address the proposed opt-in requirement for discussions on human sexuality, gender identity, and sexual orientation. This policy will discourage critical learning opportunities by adding unnecessary bureaucratic hurdles. Given that parents already receive notification and have the right to opt out in the Education Act, it makes me wonder, what is the problem we're trying to solve? This will place an additional burden on schools and parents, requiring forms for lessons that, again, parents can already opt out of, further straining our already overwhelmed teachers. The opt-in policy, along with having to get third-party resources approved, will have a chilling effect on classroom conversations, making it harder for students to engage with diverse and inclusive topics. There's a real concern that these added measures will discourage teachers and students from addressing these important issues. When teachers can't talk about 2S LGBTQ plus IA identities, those identities cease to exist in schools. And this is wrong, and it does not reflect the diverse nature of today's classrooms. Finally, implementing gender policies in school sports presents its own set of challenges. Ensuring fair and inclusive participation while respecting the identities of all students requires thoughtful, nuanced approaches that this legislation fails to provide. Not only does this legislation risk undermining the trust between students, parents, and teachers, making schools feel less safe for 2S LGBTQIA plus youth, it also creates a distraction from the fact that Alberta has the lowest funded school system in Canada. That's the crisis that needs attention now. Overstuffed classrooms, a lack of resources for students and teachers, and a lack of mental health supports. The government's underfunding of our students and their learning needs should be the priority, not unnecessary legislation that will harm our most vulnerable students and their parents. We urge the government to reconsider these proposals before they are implemented in 2025 and work with educators to create policies that truly support all students. Thank you.